Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me this week for a very different but special episode is that retro code, Eddie B.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Corey, for having me. What up, bro?
Thank me for having you on your own show when you're here. I know people are probably confused because Laurent and Stephanie aren't here. But when patrons are hearing this, it is Boss Rush Spring Break, where we kind of give the team a week off. But we still have to have content, and this was kind of like a last-minute thing.
Our summer break.
Yeah, this is like a last-minute recording because, A, I thought we had an episode for that week, and we don't, and B, I don't really want to bother anybody on their night off, and C, Ed and I were recording Nintendo Power Block anyway. So I decided that, Ed, maybe you and I, as co-founders of this project, that maybe we should have like a founders discussion, you know, kind of like, and I know that kind of sounds dumb, but like, you know, we kind of, everything we do is like kind of on a whim and just kind of throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks and what doesn't. And, you know, I just kind of want to talk to you specifically because, you know, we are friends and partners in this, and I just want to kind of have that conversation. I want to just talk to you about random stuff because we don't ever really get to talk about random stuff. I mean, we talk about Nintendo stuff all the time, and, you know, we text and talk back and forth a lot, but nothing in like an official capacity or anything. And, you know, I kind of want to see if you have any new ideas or just kind of talk for an hour or so and see what we can do. And, you know, Stephanie and Laurent will be back next week. Don't worry, guys. I promise. We're just here to have a founders roundtable. This should be like, I want to say this is episode 145 or 146 or something like that. Somewhere in there. It's going to go up in that space.
Yeah.
But before we do that, Ed, we're gonna talk about some patrons, some Patreon stuff.
Yes.
Remember, you can support the Boss Rush Podcast, Nintendo Power Block, and our other content by heading over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can donate money at specific tiers, and you get specific perks for subscribing at different tiers, like early access at the $1 level. You get the Boss Rush Podcast, Nintendo Power Block Expansion Pass, Standard Definition, and After Dark, all early at the $1 mark. Just $1, everybody. Wow. But then, Ed, if you subscribe at the $5 tier, my camera's all messed up.
Ooh.
The $5 tier grants you a Patreon producer perk. What does that mean? It means you get your name shouted out on this here program, as well as others across the Boss Rush Network. So without further ado, by the way, $5 tier also gets early access to all the other content. Without further ado, our Patreon producers for this episode are Quentin Jackson, Rebecca Jewell, Adriel Munger, my wife, Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Celeste Roberts. I want to thank all of our Patreon producers. I want to thank all of our patrons, and I want to thank all of our free listeners. If you listen to the Boss Rush Podcast on free feeds or any of our other content, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'm trying to switch my mind over from iTunes because it hasn't been iTunes in like 3 years, but yeah, if you could do that for us, that'd be great. And if not, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click a like if you're watching us. That helps too. Ed, how are you? How are things going? I know you're working a lot.
And actually, work is settling down. We actually got a store manager. Kind of found out today at the time of this recording that um I worked at her store when she wasn't there because she was like kind of on vacation,
Mm.
and uh, she knew that I worked there. I was just like, oh, I'm like, because she said the city, and I was just like, oh, I worked there at that store, and because I came in, she's just like, yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, okay, so uh, we actually got a store manager. She's going to be permanent at our store. Um, some days I'm still splitting to get there, but she's real cool. Uh, I say she's an ally. I haven't got to meet her wife yet, but I'm so excited to meet her. She could bake. She's a great man. She brought us some blueberry muffins that were just so moist and so good. Just the blueberry melted into the bread, and I'm like, oh, the sweetness of the dough of the cake or the muffin, I should say. And the blueberry was just amazing. I was just like, I cannot touch these, uh,
Wow.
because I would have max half of that thing. So, um, but yeah, she's been a joy to work with. Um, we're getting ready for our inventory at my job and stuff. So once we get that all figured out, I mean, like once by the time you guys see this, our inventory has already happened. I'll be so excited it'll be done with. But yeah, I'm doing really good, playing a lot of games, and um, something that I kind of noticed with a certain game, um, and kind of Nintendo in general, with some of their team slash mature games that kind of actually had me thinking about something, and we may discuss it on Expansion Pass, Corey, or we may discuss it here if you care to. Um, it really got me thinking, and I remember on an old pod block, or when I asked about should like Nintendo talk about certain mature things and stories and stuff, and kind of realized that they actually do. We just don't pay attention to them if you think about it. um but yeah, other than that, I'm getting back into the groove of things of writing on for the writing team for Boss Rush. I know I've been away for so long for doing it. Um,
You and
so
me
it's if
both.
yeah, I when literally what people don't understand is when my old store manager left, it literally changed everything at my job.
Hmm.
So there was just so much going on and everything. Uh and so now I kind of feel like I'm back in things are settled down. I'm back in a creative space and I could once again write. Um and like shout out to Stephanie. She did I did a better recently and she helped me edit it and got me back like on track and be like, okay, now I see what I need to do and everything. Um because like I've been away for so long, and it kind of just felt like I forgot a lot of stuff. Sorry, everybody, I'm getting up in age, and I'm getting forgetful at times. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get that youthful spirit, trying to get that remembrance on of doing stuff. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I'm really in a good space mentally and physically. Well, physically, I need to start working out again because I see my tummy's getting out there, and I'm just like, yeah, I
Mm.
might have to cut down on some snacks and some fast
Maybe we
food.
should make
But
Snackendo once a month, Ed, instead of every week.
oh shoot, no, no, because there's just too much goodness out there sometimes. What we're gonna do? Be like, Corey, I had a salad. Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for family news.
I mean, if that's what we have to do, like we could do like a Ring Fit Adventure challenge or something.
We should. I
That could
think
be
I
just because like I know you said you feel like you're in a good space. I don't, but that's a different story. Uh I mean, that could definitely be like a challenge for us, maybe like when I come back from vacation, we could do that, and as part of playing with power,
Oh yeah.
our Ring Fit adventure or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe that would
you have
be.
it right.
I gotta go buy it.
Okay. You
Yeah.
get it within the next 2 weeks, and then we'll have a weekly Ring Fit adventure.
So I'm probably gonna get it Friday, because that is my off day, um, and so I'll probably go get it then. I'm like I'll probably see a Target, or I'll probably check Best Buy because see if they got some sales or something. If not, I may have a coupon, like $5 off, and get drop down the
A
price. But yeah,
coupon. Are you going to Hill's department store to go get it?
no. So with me
I
ordering Best Buy
I
and
know.
their
I'm just
program
messing
and
with you.
stuff, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Just like coupons are like, we're gonna sit here and cut out the coupons in my newspaper.
Can I tell you, folks keep leaving coupons around my store for the adult diapers.
Maybe they're trying to tell you something, Ed.
I'd be like, where the heck is this coupon for these adult diapers? Or they'll leave it for candy or Dove. I'm like, where the heck does this stuff come from? It'd be a mess, dude. I'm like, oh wow. But
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I think doing Ring Fit Adventure and like really changing my eating habits and
Yeah.
everything. And I'll still go out and do taste tests and everything. And I gotta message Jack also, because the snack club stuff that he sent me, I've been eating some of it. I um tasted this one with like I'll save it for Nintendo Pop, because it's really good, and I kind of figure I was wondering, I'm just like, is this something that I literally could just order from them and have it shipped? Because if I can, I think there's gonna be some things I'm being ordered from, because it's really good.
Hmm. Cool.
But yeah, that's kind of how I been, and definitely getting back into the fall, uh, and watching our latest Nintendo expansion pass. Not the one that's gonna be coming out soon, because that one, I,
Are you talking about our the Bayonetta one?
yeah, with the fall lineup, and when we
Yeah.
got close to the end, I said to you, I guess we'll agree to disagree, and I'm just like, man, how many times do I disagree with you?
A lot.
on things?
About 7 years worth of podcasts, give or take.
But I think when we had that other discussion, and I don't know how you titled it or anything, but we don't even know how that conversation came up, and how we talked about third party, and Nintendo, and I that was my latest like banter. Should Nintendo allow? Because I think that was part of the conversation that we had. Should Nintendo allow certain publishers on their next console? I did that as a banner, and then I actually went back and watched one of our older Power Block podcast episodes, and it was just like it was titled "Square and Capcom Speaks About Nintendo Switch," and it was just talking about the support that they've been given to them. And you ask the question, who's the one giving the most support to Nintendo? And now thinking about it, after like 5 years, it has to be Square Enix. And I mean, yes, and Ubisoft and Capcom, but man, Square Enix got a lot of original IPs on Switch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talked about, I don't know, probably around that time maybe, where like, it seems like they're big like AAA, let's dump all of our money into graphics and battle systems and stuff. Like they're going to PlayStation, right? But they're like double A and kind of, I would say, indie inspired stuff, like I guess more old school Square, right? Like Octopath Traveler, which we have a question about for Power Block later on that, but Octopath Traveler and Live Alive seems to be doing pretty well for them, which I didn't really know what kind of game that was, and I heard it. I was listening to, I forget what show I was listening to. Oh, last week's Game Scoop, where they were talking about it, and I didn't know they were like It's almost like Octopath Traveler, where you're playing these little vignettes and they all kind of tie together at the end.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting. I kind of want to play it now. It sounds like it's a lot shorter than Octopath Traveler, though, which is great.
It is. So it was kind of almost like Saga Frontier in a
Gross.
sense.
Don't tell me that.
As in where you can select different characters to start.
Okay.
Because Live is Live was Saga Frontier is it's quite possibly the second worst RPG that I've ever played. Like I give props to I have my problems with Wild Arms. Wild Arms is still functional in a sense. Saga Frontier is just a mess of a game. Like you can't grind in the game. All the enemies, like the difficulty is ramped up from the start of the game, and it's just like I don't got time. I can't grind to fight you guys. Like it could literally take 10 hits for my whole party dead, game over. And then there's barely any save files. Saga Frontier is a mess of a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my son is still up. He's hitting this phase where like he won't go to sleep because we're trying to like get him to fall asleep in his crib, but his crib's really close to the door and the light, so he'll like open the door and close the door and turn the light on and start playing, and it's just not working. So you can hear him kind of playing in the background. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, I mean, Live Alive seems really interesting. Bravely Default, they've brought, I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, which I know were kind of PlayStation first, but
see, I Am Setsuna, yes. Lost Sphere, not really. I think Lost Sphere was new for everything because I have the physical Lost Sphere for Switch, which is kind of weird yet nice. Weird in the fact that I had to order this from Square Enix. Like in order to get this game.
Oh, that's right, because it was a Square store exclusive.
Yeah, and I kind of like that in a sense.
I wish more companies would do that, where like I could just order straight from them instead of waiting to see if it pops up on Amazon or not.
Right.
But
because besides Nintendo and the Xenoblade Chronicles collection, that was just a mess.
Yeah, did you see it went up on the store the other day again for whatever? And like I guess on launch day, you can pre-order it for another release in like October or something.
Yeah, because I think it's the UK or something.
Oh, it's such a huge mess.
Yeah.
I think the only like real AAA project that they ported over to Switch was Dragon Quest. I mean, unless you count like their older games, which are pretty AAA still. Like, I don't know. I still think Final Fantasy 10 and 12 are awesome on the Switch, but.
And then we got that Final Fantasy 15, like.
Oh, the Pocket Edition, yeah.
The Pocket Edition, yeah.
Which wasn't terrible. I know we made fun of it a lot before it came out, and then I played it and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun and actually probably better than the main version.
I mean, we got the sequel to The World Ends With You also.
Yeah.
On there.
Yeah.
Which I know you said you didn't enjoy.
Yeah, that was weird. I just, nope.
I was waiting for you to send it to me.
Sorry.
What? But like the Secret of like I love the Collection of Mana. I mean, because Secret of Mana is one of my favorite RPGs. But I've like I said, I never got to play Trials of Mana, the original one. And I always seen it in EGM, but it just never came here. But man, come on, Capcom. I want Breath of Fire. No, not Capcom, Square. I'm sorry. No, Capcom. Yes, I'm sorry. Oh, good.
The thing is like some of these old school companies need to license that HD 2D engine from Square and let like because like how cool would something like I don't know, not even an RPG like Ninja Gaiden look on that, or I don't know, what are some other classic games that would look cool in that art? You know what I mean, though. But like,
yes.
I think that there are some games from other companies that would look really awesome. Like imagine like an upgraded like original Metal Gear would
Oh
look in that, and that
yes,
top down perspective would actually give it some depth and look like really cool, you
yes.
know? Um
Shoot. Give me Fantasy Star 1 and 2.
oh no,
Like I
Fantasy Star, yeah.
I definitely Fantasy Star one of these. I didn't even know they did like a remake in Japan. It may be here in America, but like remake Fantasy Star One and all of the problems that they had. Like I would play it, or yeah, or let's or license it to Sega so we could get Fantasy Star 5. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked that Sega didn't continue like a single player Fantasy Star. I wonder if they're like looking at how Square is handling Final Fantasy and wondering if that could
mhm.
be a route they could take. Although Fantasy Star Online 2 has been running since for almost 10 years, so I mean, which is
I
crazy.
I think
Longer than that, I guess, if you include
probably
like
so.
the GameCube version, I guess.
Which I kind of feel like Fantasy Star now kind of fits well on Microsoft's platform in a sense
Yeah, but it's coming to
um,
PlayStation in September, I think.
for the online portion.
Uh-huh.
Oh, online game, yeah. I don't know. It's very weird. I was actually talking to Nick, and I probably talk about this in more detail on Power Block. Um, I was talking to I messaged Nick because him and the guest was talking about Stray on their podcast, and I kind of told him because he said that man, hope Stray comes to Switch, and I kind of feel like I don't want Stray on Switch, and that's a really odd thing for me to say it, but and I think it's because of me playing the whole game. Like I said, I'll speak on that on Pop but I don't know. I think there's sometimes when I experience it again that I'm glad that I experienced it on that particular console and be like, yeah, this don't need to be on Nintendo. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love it for it to be on Nintendo, but that's a really odd and kind of sometimes hard thing for me to say that I don't want a game on a Nintendo platform because I like it where it's at.
Mm.
And not trying to be gatekeeping or anything, but I don't know if have you ever felt that like you played the game on another console and you kind of feel like it shouldn't stay on it shouldn't go to a Nintendo console.
I mean, I don't really care because I think that every game, like, for the most part, like every game should be on everything.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I've felt that way about playing other games on a Nintendo console that maybe it shouldn't have been. Like Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 on the Wii U, like pretty much any third party game on the Wii U, because I
Oh
played them
no.
all for this show or for Pal Block. But I mean, I I don't know, man. I just it's the and I know it's cheesy, and I know somebody's gonna make fun of me, and I know people who listen to this show, especially people in Boss Rush, are gonna make fun of me for saying this, but it's like the Phil Spencer quote, or the the prepared Microsoft statement quote that Phil Spencer said is like, however you want to take that. When everybody plays, we all win thing.
Hmm.
It just like we're in this era now where like crossplay is pretty much mandatory across the board, and cross progression, and uh save data transfers, and deal, you know what I mean? Like we're in this era where all that really counts for something, and it doesn't matter, and we have tools like Discord or Skype or Zoom to talk to people while we play games
Hmm.
that aren't necessarily linked to the consoles. And it's great now because Discord is coming to Xbox and PlayStation, right? Which is awesome because, especially a big Destiny fan like I am, uh, having a Discord is going to be awesome because, hypothetically, if I ever made other friends outside of a couple a couple of friends that I play Destiny with, I could use Discord to talk to them. Uh, and I really feel that games, if it's not a first party game, even certain first party games, I guess, right, like with Minecraft, and you know
Yeah.
that Microsoft deal with Activision supposedly going to close next month, or this month, I guess, because it's August. uh
Was that actually last year that they purchased them? Has it been a year?
I have no idea, man. I don't remember. Everything's such a blur at this point, and I have been so busy with everything, which we'll
Hmm.
probably get to towards the end of the show, but like with everything with Boss Rush and keeping up with all the shows and the editing and just working in my new job, which I absolutely love my new job, but it's taken up other time that I would be using to do other things, right? And
Hmm.
uh two kids now instead of one, it's like I just don't keep up with things anymore like I used to. And it's not to say that I don't do the research when we go to do the shows and stuff, because I do, but it used to be like, you would ask me on like if we were recording Nintendo Power Block on Wednesday and you would ask me on like Friday about something, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, that. Or if we were doing Arsenal X and I could spew out a bunch of stuff before the show, right? Because I just pay attention and I used to look up stuff and I used to
Hmm.
be all in IGN and Game Informer and whatever website you can think of. I used to be there, and now it's just like, oh, okay, I will get to the news when I get to it, or I'll see something on Twitter when I'm at work when I'm trying to fix something, and I'll be like, oh, that's neat, that's cool. um and so it's just become a lot harder, keeping up
Yeah.
with. It's almost like the reverse. How we have Boss Rush stuff set up now is like, it's almost like the reverse should have happened, where like before I had my kids and stuff, we should have probably done like all this. But now that I have two kids and trying to keep up with work and my wife and activities, and next week I'm going on vacation, which is this week if you're listening to this, and um it's kind of come to a point where like I wish like maybe we didn't do all this. uh because it's really hard to keep up with everything. And um I think that in terms of games being on Nintendo, like games that shouldn't be on Nintendo, yeah, I think there's plenty that probably shouldn't be on a Nintendo console until they figure out how to do their online system, or have a more powerful console for one. Like, I'm a big
Hmm.
Destiny fan. Destiny, as much as I would love to play Destiny and it's some sort of handheld mode or something, Switch is not the place for that, right? Like, as much as I would love it, or like,
And, and it's an interesting thing that you say that, because when I played Destiny, even not going from PlayStation to Xbox, because I think I beat it on PlayStation. I beat the first one on PlayStation, and then when I was playing uh when I was playing the second one and I did the demo, I was like, no, I can't do it on PS4. But then I played on Xbox, be like, oh, this is so much better. I kind of feel like, yeah, this is a game that don't need to be on Nintendo at all
mm-mm,
for some reason. And I'm not
yeah.
I'm not knocking Destiny for for that, but it's just like you feel good on other places,
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel good on the Nintendo system. And to me personally, I'm not seeing the community asking for Destiny to be on the Nintendo system.
I mean, I kind of was at first, just because like I would love some sort of handheld, and to be fair, I've actually debated getting a Steam Deck for Destiny, but it's not
Hmm.
compatible. So, because of all like the anti cheat stuff. But like I bought a Backbone like for my phone. 80% of the reason why I bought that, and I think that's a little low, it's probably more like 90%, was to do like weekly stuff in Destiny while I'm laying in bed, right? Because like, oh, I
Hmm.
can I can run three strikes without you know sitting in front of the TV and having perfect connection, right? Like, I'm probably not going to die, and if I do, like, somebody will revive me, whatever. I don't, or doing my weekly gunsmith bounty, daily gunsmith bounties, or doing, just dumb stuff like that, running around the throne world trying to get those bounties done, right? Like, I can do all that without having a perfect connection. Am I ever going to raid on my phone with this Backbone? No.
Oh no.
Am I ever going to do like Iron Banner or Trials of Osiris on my phone? No. But, I can do my day. I can do my daily or weekly Crucible matches and be done with it, right? Like I can do a generic multiplayer match and survive 3 rounds and get my bounties done, you know? Like that's totally something I can do. So I just there's a lot of games like that too, right? Like The Division is another game that I actually really like and just don't have time to play. That's a game that doesn't really need to be on Switch at all, you know?
No.
But then there are games where I would love to have a Switch version, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a game that I absolutely adore, and I would love to just play handheld mode on Switch for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, and because that world is so big and there's so much to do, taking that on the go with your Switch would just make sense. So, like, if you're on a train ride, or if you're, if you're just doing something where you're traveling or you're going like even on an airplane and stuff and you're able to do it and you want to like get through the game or just play something from here and there, I feel like Switch is good for that.
Yeah.
For a game like that.
Yeah.
And I think with like something like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, and I know like Assassin's Creed 2, 3, and 4 are on the Switch and they're good ports, but like I tried to play Assassin's Creed 2 a few weeks ago, and I played for like 3 or 4 hours, and it definitely shows its age to the point where I'm like, maybe I don't want to play you, at least at that moment, I was just like not prepared for that because I had been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? And Assassin's Creed Odyssey feels so good to play. Like the movement's perfect, the combat is awesome.
I need to install it on Series X because I got the digital version.
Right.
I want to see how.
Well, it has the Series X upgrade for free.
I want to see how good it is.
Oh my gosh, it's like to me. That's like, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, and I don't really understand why, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like a top 10 game of all time for me. I absolutely love that game. And not to say,
Valhalla.
I know Dude, I've bought all the DLC for Valhalla because I'm like, I'm going to play this after Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm still not done with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I started that game like 2 years ago.
I need to still start it up. Yeah, I since it's been on sale, it's always on sale.
Yeah, it's on sale right now for like, I think the base version is $10. And dude, that's a lot of game for $10.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I'm gonna install it. I think once I need to hurry up, get Tomb Raider off my system. I might just delete Tomb Raider. Just come back to it when I feel like it.
Those are by the way, those are games I feel like would be great on Switch.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, they're not. I mean, at least see, I would even say Shadow would be all right on Switch, but those games are 360 games.
Yeah, I think. I know for like Rise of the Tomb Raider, I definitely want. I think the original Tomb Raider, of course, I want the whole trilogy on there. I think Rise of the Tomb Raider will be so successful on Switch due to the fact that game came out when Fallout 4 was coming out, and people laughed at it. People were just like, "I'm getting a Fallout, Xbox, this and that, and all the stuff," and the PlayStation 4. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider came out on PlayStation 4, and it still didn't do nothing. So I'm just like, put it on a system where I think gamers and the community will be like, that's intriguing that you guys are putting this on Switch. I wonder how it plays and if the game is good. And I have a feeling that the game will do probably well for it. I think people will be like, how did I miss this game? I really feel like this would be the third chance, and sometimes the third time is the charm. The third time's the charm. I think of on Switch, it would get some traction and people will talk about it more. I know we say that a lot on our podcast, but I feel like Rise of the Tomb Raider is like one of the strongest games in that series. Don't get me wrong, love Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but Rise is just such a strong game, and I think it got judged because it came out from Fallout 4. And even when it hit PlayStation 4 for the PlayStation community, it still got ignored. So I think the Nintendo or gamers who are new to Switch, like to game or getting back into it, I think they'll pick it up. And hey, drop Rise of the Tomb Raider for $40, or even do the whole collection for $50.
Yeah, I just think that people want stuff like that on the go, like a third person action adventure. And it's not like there's not enough of those on Switch, but like Something big and meaty like that, I think people want.
Yes. So, sorry everybody if this is sounding like an expression pass.
I
I know
mean,
this is
look,
much
I
of
mean,
a
this is
podcast.
just like, I mean, Boss Rush Podcast is a general discussion podcast. It just goes where it
Yes.
goes, right? And I mean, yeah, we kind of keep. I mean, we don't talk a lot of Nintendo on the show a lot because we have Nintendo Power Block, obviously. But like, who cares? I don't care.
But I think, you know, I think it's such a good thing, and that's why I said listen to Nick and them, and thinking about Stray, I was just like, man, I'm like, I've never. There's not a lot of times that I feel that way, that I don't want a game on a Nintendo platform. Like, I I say that I want Titanfall 2 on Switch so bad, and that's another game. But I'm like, I bought Titanfall 2 on Xbox when it came out originally. I bought it on Xbox One. Loved it so much that I had to get it on PS4. When it was a good sale on PS4, I bought it for like it was like $3 or $5 for PS4. I'm like, I need to go pick this up. And I got the deluxe edition on Xbox One when Titanfall 2 came out. And I feel like, man, I know I have my thoughts about what that person said about it from Respawn and everything, but I'm like, I would give this game another go if they bought it for Switch, like, because it's just so good. And I think when I get to a point where a game is just so good that I don't even feel like it needs to be on another platform. Like when Rhyme came out, enjoyed it on PlayStation 4. And then when it hit Switch, I'm just like, I'm not going to double dip because I got what I needed from this game. And then when I found out that game had problems and everything, I was just like, yeah, people want to support this. I, I would direct you to play it on these other platforms this Switch until they got that game ready. But something like Greed is like the reverse, where I was just like, I love Greed being on Switch. When it came to PlayStation, I bought the game, and I really bought the game kind of for the achievements on PlayStation 4, even though I haven't got them all. But I really was screaming at Santa Monica, the developers of God of War, which is like, I would love to see what you would do with this art style for a game.
Well, I think that I think that you could take because like I think what would be cool for like a like God of War, right? There's
Hmm.
this huge gap between 3 and 4, right? Yes, I'm calling it God of War 4 because that's what it is. Where like he obviously leaves the Greek pantheon because he murdered them all, right? And there's this
Yes.
huge gap between there and where we see him in the last game, right? And so
Yes.
what happens there? And I think an interesting and I'm one of the people who actually really I don't know where revisionist history changed, and I don't know if it's because people are like quote unquote trying to be woke or hip or whatever you want to call it, but like God of War 2 was like one of the most amazing games I had ever played when it came out.
Yeah.
God of War
Yeah.
2, like God of War was fun, right? Like God of War was fun, right? It was interesting, it was cool. God of War 2 was amazing. That game was like incredible. The way like they gave you like they totally Metroided you, right? Where like they gave you all your powers and
Yeah.
like as you progress through the level you lost them, but like fighting the Colossus of Rhodes and kind of like chaining it to the docks, right? And kind of taking it out and then climbing up inside and kind of taking it out from the inside, and you would like that was one of the most amazing openings to a game ever
Yeah.
ever. And God of War 2, by the way, top 10 game for me as well. uh
I feel like God of War 2 was so clean.
yeah,
Uh like I didn't have no problems with God of War 2. I think what I had a problem with God of War 1 is that sometimes it was a little bit challenging. You were
Hmm.
fighting this way, and it's a well designed game. But
Especially when
God
you
of
get
War,
to the temple on the back of the Titan, right, where like you're trying to
yeah,
get to
oh,
Pandora's
good,
box or whatever. Yeah, that
yeah,
whole section was like, you had to twist the stairs a certain way, and like it was easy to get lost in there. Like I like the concept, but it was really easy to get lost in
mhm,
there. Uh, Also like the part where you're kind of climbing out of Hades, right? Where there's a couple, kind of BS traps in there where you're like, oh, okay, that was stupid. I'm trying to climb this
yeah,
wall here, and you have these flame archers. Again, I was playing on the hardest difficulty, so that was probably part of the reason. Uh, but yeah, I even like Ascension. I thought Ascension's story was pretty cool. The prequel.
yeah. I got it for PS3
Hmm.
when they released it, but I just didn't play it all
Hmm.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
but like after you like take on the entire Greek pantheon, it's like kind of hard to go back and do a prequel, right? What they should have done is led with Ascension on PS3, right?
mhm,
And then, concluded with God of War 3. I think that would have if you switched those, I think Ascension would have, you know, reviewed a lot better cuz obviously it looks amazing. I think Ascension looks really good. The boss fights were really interesting, and then but that's besides the point.
yeah.
But back to like this interstitial place, right? Where like I think you could do like a 20 or 30, quote unquote downloadable game, whatever, uh, to kind of tell the story of Kratos' journey between, you know, the Greek mythology and the Norse mythology. How did he get here? Why does he have a beard? Like, how did he build his cabin? Like, you could totally do that. You could
How
do,
did he remarry?
yeah, like you could kind of go through that and sort of like almost like I don't want to say a journey esque type of game, but you could totally do something interesting in that way, like a 90-minute kind of thing,
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of to do that, but I don't know. That I think that would be really interesting. You could like even if you didn't do it in the Greece style, right? You could totally do it in like the Greek kind of what was that indie game that came out where it looked like you were like the little Greek people on clay pots and stuff. It was a PlayStation Plus game. I
Oh,
think it was called Apathion or something.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. And like you could it was like a Metroidvania style game. But like you could even do something interesting like that, or I don't know. But I think you could do something interesting with IP that aren't exactly what you expect from the IP, you know. I
Hmm.
mean, God of War, I think you would have to have a little bit of combat, but I think that kind of hack and slash works, and it would be almost like a beat 'em up type game, you know. And you don't have to do it like the whole way through, but you could have combat sections and puzzle sections and side scrolling storytelling sections, right? And
Yeah.
the storytelling doesn't even have to be fully animated, right? Like something that I think Destiny does really well with its seasonal events is they create these little almost like animated art cards, right? Where, it's like a black and white kind of drawing and that kind of there's a narration over it and then the scene changes when they move through the story.
Yeah.
I don't you could do something like that.
Yeah. I think that kind of narrative and storytelling to fill in the gap of stuff is something that I would definitely love to see Sony dive into and everything. Yeah, that's I think that's cool when you play a game and something about it makes you wish that another developer would take a look at it and incorporate some ideas in that same style and present it to people, or present it to gamers and stuff to be like, hey, we love the style that they did with Gree, uh so we're gonna borrow this star or have give it our take, and not and whatever you want to do with the production and everything, but we want to tell this narrative using this style. I think that's really cool and stuff. And not I don't feel like it should be like a rip off, but of course I'm down with stuff that pays homage to someone else's style. When we look at Jet Set Radio, um, to me personally, that's the introduction of cell shading. And then you look at Wind Waker, who Nintendo, they took that art style, but yet made it their own also, and just like, yeah, we can do cell shading, but we're making the colors and the palette look different. Where um, well, Jet Set Radio is kind of hip and cool and punk and everything. We're taking that cell shading and we're mixing it with this watercolor look to it and everything, but yet clean and simple. So both are doing cell shading, but they're doing it in their own different way, in a sense. And you can respect both and love both, which a lot of people do. You know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to mute myself when I'm not talking because, kids. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of again, I'm not like probably the best person to talk about indie games on this show because like I don't really care, but I think there's a lot of I mean, I do care, but you know what I mean. Like I don't care the way that a lot of people do around here, and so Death's Door is the first indie game I've played since Gree, right? And so,
Right.
What does that tell you? Gree came out in what, 2019, 2019, 20?
2019.
Somewhere in there.
18 or 19, yeah. Such a banger year still.
So I mean, well, I guess Shovel Knight DLC too. But anyways, my point is like, I'm at the point in my life in terms of like where my family is and the amount of time that I have to play games is like, I tend to be drawn to the IP I already know to play. Yeah. And by the way, I saw some great videos of Horizon Forbidden West the other day. And it was like really the first time I'm like, man, I wish I had a PlayStation 5 to play that. Like,
yeah, I need to return to 4 with PS4 to finish it.
Oh man, I love Horizon so much. I want to play the new game so bad, but I don't have a PlayStation 5 and I'm not going to spend $550 just to play the game. But gosh, that game is like the most beautiful game I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, Horizon. Like that's what I'm talking about though, because like you could do something interesting with Horizon, and look how many art styles Aloy's been in and has just fit. Like you look at the Monster Hunter stuff, you look at Fortnite. She's been in. There was one other thing. I mean, her costume was in Sackboy's Big Adventure, and it's like you could do something really interesting with Aloy in some like a smaller experience or like a Horizon style game. Like, what if you did like a city builder, but in like the world of Horizon where you kind of grow your camp up and you have to learn how to, like, you have to grow your tribe and you have to fight off some of the robot dinosaurs, or maybe you
that would literally be interesting to see,
or you like train some of them and like some of them to protect for you, or you use certain, you know what I mean? Like you could grow a civilization in the Horizon use. I think that would be super cool, but like, yeah, that's something that these companies aren't ever going to do, right? They're going to leave that to City Skylines or Frontier with Planet Coaster or something, like one of these sim style games.
But I think that's why and I'm using Nintendo with Ubisoft with Mario Rabbids. I'm like, when you can't do something like that, but you still want but you still want that kind of idea in that universe or that series, it's okay to go out and let someone else do it. I don't know if Sony has ever did that or anything, but I think that's why I kind of love that Nintendo has let Ubisoft take Mario and create that Mario Rabbids, and look how great that game came out. And I kind of feel like even with Nintendo working with Microsoft to allow them to do Minecraft with Mario stuff, but only bring it to Nintendo. That's fine. I would love
Hmm.
for that to be even on Microsoft stuff or any other platform if Nintendo was really feeling generous. But
Right.
I think that's why I like when game companies do that. Definitely when we talked about this on Power Block, Nintendo and Microsoft having a good relationship and everything. I kind of
Hmm.
feel like Nintendo be open and let other publishers take your IP and do something with it because I think they could do a good job. Sega did it with Sonic Mania. They let a whole different independent company
Well, it
take the
started as a
Sonic
mod.
franchise.
It started as a mod
Yeah.
project, and I mean, after that game came out, they closed the studio down. But after that,
Oh
well, remember,
no.
Sega bought the studio, and after Sonic Mania came out, I think they like closed the studio down or something. Something ridiculous happened after that game came out, and it was like a
Did
huge,
not know that.
yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of the movie. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, like, I would love to see a Sonic Mania sequel. I liked Sonic
Yeah.
Mania a lot, and
I
I bought the Switch Collector's Edition. I have the big Sonic standing on the Genesis statue,
oh nice.
which I will display at some point in my house. Uh, so
I just bought it for Series X for like $10, and
mhm.
so I can't wait to play it there. The reason why I didn't buy it on Switch is because I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
but you
like
can play it with the
I'm
Genesis controller, Ed.
I don't have the Genesis
By the
controller
way,
though.
Nintendo, release a 6-button Genesis controller, please, so I can play Street
Okay,
Fighter for real.
that I would do. I would wait for a 6 button to do that. Uh, but yeah, I think it was just like because I was buying some other games on that I wanted on Xbox, I'm like, well, this has a cart and I can do this all in one. Something that Nintendo doesn't have yet.
Yeah.
Nintendo, invest in that, please get that. Do this is two things that I want Nintendo to really do. A, get where I could just tap my credit card on my Switch and buy games.
Oh no, that's
B,
dangerous. No, that's so dangerous.
B, uh, literally, um, get a cart system so I could buy multiple
Oh
games.
yeah, cart system. I can't believe they don't have one of those. But
Yeah.
so did I tell you the other day? So I set up my Switch to where like you have to put a password in to buy games because like if I was a responsible adult, I would put my Switch away every time I used it. But no, I usually lay it on the arm of the couch and then I'll leave for work and then it's like under some pillows when I get home. I'm like, why is my Switch laying here? And it's because my kids are playing it. Well, like I put a password thing because I'm like, well, what if because I caught Miles doing the touchscreen stuff and he was like in the eShop, right? And so
Uh-huh.
I put a password on my eShop and I'm like, I can't buy anything. What's happening over there?
Fire.
Oh,
Fire truck.
uh-oh. And I put a password on so he couldn't buy anything. And I was like, all right, that's great. That's a great idea. Well, the other day it was just me and him here while Riley and Sana were out, and I had the Xbox on because I was checking something. I needed to check something on Destiny, and so I left the room and I had just turned my Xbox on. I came back and he spent like $30 on something, and like I don't know what he spent it on.
In Destiny?
No, on just Xbox in general.
Oh no!
He bought something for $30 and I have no idea what it is.
Did you check your email?
Uh so the thing is I didn't I had my phone in the kitchen and I was like checking email stuff, right, for work and just some other things going on, and I deleted all the emails that I wasn't working on. And like I mean I could go through my junk mail, but
Yeah.
it's not that big a deal. It was just like, oh my gosh, he spent $30. What did he buy?
Why do I feel like
And
there
I
is
should.
some?
Here's the thing. I should have learned that a while ago because he did buy me South Park at one point too. Uh, like 2 years ago, or not 2 years ago, but like 6 months ago, right? He couldn't have bought it 2 years ago. He's
Did he buy his first mature M-rated game?
yeah, because like he was just screwing around and like he bought me South Park on Xbox, which was cool, but I already own it on Switch, and I'm like, I don't need it on 2 platforms at this point. Oh man. South Park, by the way, those games are great. If you like Paper Mario, you should probably play South Park.
I didn't like the first one, but I think I'll probably end up picking up 1 and 2.
The first one's better. I in a gameplay sense, the story in the second one's way better, but I like the basic kind of JRPG, Paper Mario style gameplay in the first one, whereas the second one's more of like a grid-based tactics light strategy RPG. So but
I'll probably revisit them on Xbox then, because I think I own it on PlayStation, but I think I'll probably get it on Xbox because they're always like on sale and it's cheap, and I'm like, you know what, let me give this one a fair shot, because like at the first or second hour I was just like, it wasn't the gameplay that I was mad about. I think it was just like the story and the stuff was just like kind of irritating. I'm just like, I don't have the mind frame for this. Like, this is irritating.
That's fair. Yeah. Anyways, video games. Are you played anything? I'm gonna need you to rant about what you're playing so I can go pee, because I had a big old energy drink and it's gone, and now it's time to come out. So rant. Okay. I'm leaving that in, by the way. Everybody can just hear me ranting about how much I had to pee. It's fine.
And away he goes. So I am playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, everyone. And you'll probably hear more about it, or probably the same thing on Nintendo Pop Block if you check it out. I literally can say that it is in my top nomination for Game of the Year. And not just because it's a Nintendo game, no. Gameplay is good, solid. There's a lot of cutscenes, so if people who are already playing it know what I mean. I think this one is kind of like the first one. Well, not the first one, but it kind of reminds me of the PlayStation 2 games with the Xeno Saga games, that there's like a lot of cutscenes and everything. But good googly moogie, this soundtrack is amazing. Like, I literally want this soundtrack. Like, I want a physical CD of this soundtrack for Xenoblade. Corey, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 soundtrack, man, the best soundtrack of 2022.
That's what I hear.
Nothing is such, like, people get into battles just to hear the music. People look forward to the boss battles because of the music. And even just being in the land is so mellow, and just man, the piano, the violins, the drums, just everything about this. Like, I think there was a story or a leak or something about Xenoblade having like a live orchestra making the music of this game.
Yeah, we talked about it on Power Block at one point.
Okay.
They leaked it on their Facebook page in January, I think.
Whoever arranged the music needs to get a Grammy for this. Like, this soundtrack, like, it's, I think people who end up picking up Xenoblade Chronicles 3, or I hope Nintendo just releases a super soundtrack for this. Like, even do it for, like, even sell it on your website if you could, or go to somebody. I don't know. Find a way to get this soundtrack out. People, man, this, just almost every place that I go to, I sit back and I listen to the music. I like I said, the gameplay is great. I love the characters. The voice acting is good. There's a I did, Corey, I will say, there was at one point that 30 minutes had passed and it was still in the cutscene. So I put the controller down and started eating snacks. But
Uh,
yeah,
August
oh,
11th, 2000 or 2021 is when we talked about it.
okay.
January,
Uh,
August, it's fine. Almost a
uh,
year ago, actually.
yeah, man, this music just wow. I can't really say enough. Like it's literally in my nomination for Game of the Year. Like right now, as much as I love Kirby and Forgotten Land, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has knocked this down.
Hmm.
Like this is now I gotta see how Splatoon 3 is. I gotta see how Bayonetta is. I gotta see how some of these other games and stuff. I enjoy Shredder's Revenge for what it is. Um but man, I the time and the hours that I put, like still to this day, people are just like, should I get Xenoblade Chronicles 3, or should
Mm-hmm.
I get the definitive or 1 or 2? But people just like, they're enjoying this game. Showing some of the upgrades. Nothing about the story has been really spoiled yet for a lot of people, so that's good. It's
Mm-hmm.
just been literally about the music and people being excited of playing this game. So Monolith Soft, that they're in the spotlight. They're getting the recognition and everything. I'm glad that this game has finally released. Um, I actually, funny story, Corey. I actually had to pre-order I had to buy the game on Friday on the day of release, because somehow I must have not pre-ordered the game and
Mm.
stuff. So I literally sat in Best Buy's parking lot, uh, ordered the game, wait for the store to open, and then went and go picked up my game.
Wow. Wow.
uh, and then um scallywag my way home in my car. uh I sometimes wish people could just see me one day, just like buy my games and be like, "Thank you," and then just see me run out, and all this joy comes out, and then I twist and twirl and get into my car, and be like, "I'm about to go," because sometimes there's a grocery store right by it, and there's gonna be a day where I just literally have a Japanese day where I buy my game pick my game up from Best Buy, go to the grocery store, pick up a big thing of sushi,
Wow.
find something to drink, and then get in the car and go home. I have done that though. Um, well, I have did Laurent gets me on this, but when I bought Hyrule Warriors, because it was a red thing, I
Mm-hmm.
got that pizza and the cold red Mountain Dew, which is like, yeah, I'm so excited. So
Wow.
yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, but pretty much, I'm just gonna keep it right there for what I've been playing, because everybody, you're gonna have to. But probably by the time you'll know what I've been playing by watching Nintendo Power Block. But if you haven't, go check that episode out.
Hmm.
So, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about it on Nintendo Power Block. So I'll just keep it right there.
Cool. I mean, for me, my nephews came over this weekend and we played a bunch of games, and we played like Smash and Ninja Turtles, and we played a little bit of Destiny, and it was fun. But for me, like, Destiny has been the big thing. I've been trying to finish my season pass this past week.
Oh, nice.
It's I just didn't play a lot this season, and it just, I don't know. I've been getting back into it in like a real way recently, and
Hmm.
um it's been interesting. It's been trying to grind it out, and I mean, the seasonal stories are always really good, right? Like, it's just sometimes the event kind of is not fun, and the story kind of missions aren't exactly, sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not. uh but I've been trying to grind them out because I need to finish my season pass, because or else I feel like I wasted like $10. uh, so but yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I've been playing. I've been so just trying to get a bunch of stuff ready for when I go on vacation, and I feel like I'm always like recording or editing or trying to get stuff ready for when I'm not here, you know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like not. It hasn't made me like not want to play games or talk about them. It just kind of made me like, you know, I do feel like the burnout to an extent, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we're probably honestly like I'm going to be honest with people who are listening to this. Patrons are going to hear this first. We're probably going to be canceling the weekly format for Standard Def soon, just because that's the show that sticks out as like the sore thumb for everyone, seemingly. And it's, you know, it's the only day that we don't have a set date to record, right? Like it's always like, oh well, when's everybody free, you know? Because like Power Block records on Mondays, right?
Yeah.
And Boss Rush records on Wednesdays and Crossroads on Tuesdays. And, you know, I record my Destiny podcast on Thursdays. And then we do Expansion Pass after that or after Power Block sometimes. And like everything just has like a set day. And Standard Definition is like the show that doesn't have a set day. We kind of just record 2 episodes back to back and try to hope that, oh, maybe next weekend we could record 2 more or something, you know, and it's just not working the way I wanted it to. But we're gonna you know, with Celeste being back, Ed, and you kind of helping out with interviews and Talk the Walk coming back in a kind of like a more significant way, which is like those are like the 2 things everybody wants, right? Nobody cares about the other shows we do. They want it 1v1s and they want Talk the Walk. So we're kind of bringing them back in a real way. Celeste said